And the thing is, Manchester United weren't ready from the first minute. They didn't manage the occasion. They were nervous. They made mistakes. They were second best in every phase of the game, and the better team won. You know, they just had. That was. I don't think any of us saw that coming, and this was lost in the second half at Old Trafford. They could have been up 3 or 4-0, and they could have been out of sight. And then they come here with this crowd, and they weren't ready, Jules, from the first minute, and it showed, and you got punished.
Credit to Seville. They came, as you say, from 2-0 down in the first leg at Old Trafford. They have completely turned this game on its head, and they're the team going through to the semi-finals. How have Manchester United managed to completely throw this away when they were so comfortable in that first 60 minutes at home?
I'd say the first half, how comfortable the game should have been done. If you look over the two games, the 2 own goals he gave away, 2 calamitous goals here tonight, it's been an absolute disaster of a quarter-final. We always mentioned the history of this club. I still think Manchester, I'll say it again, Manchester are a better team than these. But tonight, they were outfought, outplayed, lacked the ability to take the ball, and were so sloppy in the ball and lacked aggression in their own play. And as I said, you turn to experienced players on nights like this to try and get some leadership from them. Martinez missing tonight was a big miss. Varane, his experience was a big miss. We still expected them to come in. They've got great experience to be good enough. Tonight they wasn't. And looking at tonight, I think it's made Ten Hag's mind up on a few of these players, which probably the only help he get from tonight.
Yeah, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into that with our post-match reaction. Do stay with us. One thing we can tell you,
the rest of it was, but there's none of them fans on the football pitch. They can't affect anything that happens. They shouldn't be able to affect anything on the football pitch. Manchester United just weren't ready. If I'm seeing that crowd, I'm thinking, what are that team like when they come out? What are they going to play like? And it's quite obvious they're going to be aggressive, they're going to get after you, they're going to have to tackle you. So I'm going to have to be ready. I'm going to have to make sure my first touch is right. De Gea kicks the ball out of play. Jadon Sancho, sloppy in possession 3 or 4 times, bad way to pass, bad touch, and it set the tone for the rest of the night. Now, if you're a Manchester United player, you've got to be able to handle atmospheres like this. You know, there's a waste of time you've been in because you're going to get this all the time. People are desperate to beat Manchester United. They've lost to a team who are 13th in La Liga. They've already beat 2 Spanish teams, 3 Spanish teams, if you count Sociedad. They beat the team who were top of the league, Barcelona, quite comfortably.
But Scholes, they played like the season was on the line. They played like this was the game of their season. United, I don't know why they didn't. It's a huge week for them, obviously, with the Europa League, and then they've got the FA Cup on the weekend. But it looked like Sevilla played like everything was at stake.
Yeah,
like you said, United they just weren't ready, which... I mean, Jules, you said in the link before it was a disaster. It was a disaster. They were second best in every phase.
It probably just goes to show that when it comes to the bigger games, if they've got injuries, then the squad probably isn't strong enough. We missed Bruno tonight. Bruno is one player who will take the ball, he control the ball, he control play at times. He's been in fantastic form the last 3 or 4 weeks. He was a big miss, but there are other leaders out there. This squad can handle other games, don't get me wrong. You look at Forest on Sunday, great, handled it really well. But when it comes to the crunch in big games, big atmospheres, it seems that they just fall short.
Was every player off it tonight for you, for Manchester United?
I thought, to be fair, Anthony worked incredibly hard. Obviously, offensively, didn't create anything, no shots on target. But again, the little things that add up in a game, Jules. They were second best. They didn't win any 1v1s offensively. Didn't win any tackles. Didn't win any second balls. They were poor on set pieces. They made individual errors, Jules. You can go through the list, but basically they didn't tick any of those boxes. And I think that's the one thing that surprised Erik ten Hag is the fact that they were second best in so many phases. And I think that was just. I think that's the most surprising thing for me. You know, we said before the game, Jules, we changed the show because the atmosphere was so good, and we realised, you know, we had to focus on the atmosphere. But United weren't ready for this atmosphere, Scholes, and just in every phase, touch, like you said, first touch is poor. You know, giving away sloppy fouls, the crowd were getting up.
Again, I think it comes down to quality, Jules, just a real lack of quality. Well, there wasn't a lack of quality on the pitch. There's good players on the pitch. You think of Casemiro Eriksson, but then you have to go to a Vigos. Just, you know what I mean? The quality just drops a level when these players aren't fit. The injury to Marcus comes on. Again, he's probably not trained as much as he would have liked. He was a little bit not quite there. Luke Shaw as well was sloppy on the ball. It was a disastrous night from start to finish. And we've had these nights throughout the season. We've had these days throughout the season where it's been a little bit disastrous, but I still feel that Ten Hag is doing things right, and I think they're going in the right direction. As I said before, this has helped him. This will help him summer-wise. He knows just by looking at that game tonight, probably that first 20 minutes, he needs better players to fill his squad.
Well, the thing is as well, you know, you saw obviously Martial, you know, in the first game he played brilliant, didn't he? He was probably the best player. All of a sudden, you know, he's dropping a little bit too deep, and then he gets injured, and then Weghorst, come on. The summer, Manchester United desperately need a number 9, and I'm sure they're going to address that. And the depth is obviously a big thing. But I think Erik ten Hag's done a brilliant job. Obviously, in the league, they're in a great spot. But today is a difficult one. Today's a sore one because it could have been so different. You know, in the first leg, they just gave it away. And to be fair, to come to a place like this when you need a result showed how difficult it is. That's why these guys have won 6 Europa Leagues, because this stadium and players, they grabbed the occasion, and United didn't do that.
Yeah, as you say, Paul, they were just second best to everything tonight, Manchester United, and this isn't their first choice team. They have got injuries, there's suspensions in the side as well. What are those key areas that you think he needs to address sooner rather than later?
Well, I think Owen's right in the centre forward position. I think that's quite clear. I think Anthony Martial's a talented lad, but I think when the going gets tough, when he's really got to dig in, he doesn't quite have the heart for it. He didn't tonight. Again, I don't know how bad his injury is. He limped off. He could be training tomorrow. He could be out for 6 months. He's one of them you just don't know. And I think in other areas, when you're looking defensively, I think the right back position is a little bit of a problem for him. He's changing all the time between Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. I don't think he's sure on either of them. He has to question the goalkeeper, especially tonight. I think Ten Hag, eventually he will want to play out from the back. Now, David De Gea has been a fantastic goalkeeper, but he's not a fantastic footballer. You see the pass he played into it, Harry Maguire. Look, it's not a bad pass. I know Harry Maguire wanted it, but you have to read the situation. You have to read what's going on in the stadium. It's not a place.
This was 8 minutes into the game starting.
Exactly. Early, you've got to get a great start. Now, look, he wants the ball, Harry Maguire. I don't know why he wants the ball. As I said before, there's hardly any, if any. I'd say one centre-half in world football who is good at receiving the ball. He's back to play. They're just uncomfortable.
I don't think he should call for the... You see him, he's calling for the ball. He shouldn't call for the ball there. Erik ten Hag wanted him to play, so that's why David plays it to him. But the point is, if he's going to receive it, he's got to receive it on his back foot, and he's got to turn out. What he tries to do is just trying to flip it around the corner, and that's a turn of possession. There's 3 opposition players that you can't play there, just kick it.
Yeah, exactly. Regardless of the manager wanting to play, read the situation. Read the atmosphere, read what's going on.
Scholesy,
that's an experienced player.
That was Brentford.
The old game was Brentford, you said it before.
Try not on, just clear your lines.
Read the situation, you read what's happening. It's not a place for that. Now look, the best teams in the world, Manchester City did probably. Pep would say, go on, it's up. This isn't the game for that, because that's exactly what they wanted to be. They fell into the trap of playing those passes because they were so aggressive at getting to the ball and very good at doing it. And look, as I say, Man United fell into the trap, it just weren't good enough. Do
you blame those mistakes on quality, or do you blame that on miscommunication between the players because they don't play together as often as, say, Martinez and Varane with De Gea?
You're being very kind there, Jules, to the players, because you got to know when you can play. The big difference between the really good players and the great players and the special ones is the good players make the right decision in the right moment. Today, in the big moments, they didn't make the right decision. David shouldn't play that ball in there. It's not on. The manager said he wants him to play, but it's not on. Don't play in there. Just kick it up. Harry Maguire, don't even ask for the ball in there. Just clear.